Hey everybody, I'm Kaz and I'm running for the Council of Stellar Management. My favorite ship in EVE Online is a Jump Freighter. My second favorite ship used to be a Heron, but I guess now it's a Venture. I guess I'm getting ahead of myself though. So everybody in Goons Farm pretty much already knows my name and recognizes my voice. This video is about explaining to everybody who is not in the Imperium who I am and why I'm running for the CSM. So I guess I'll start at the beginning and go through my EVE story. I guess I touched Eve the first time about 15 years ago. Didn't really get into it. I'm a child in the 90s. I was expecting a shoot 'em up type game like X-Wing, right? Joystick type thing, and that obviously that's not Eve. So I played with a few friends of mine. We joined up with a dude, one of them knew who had played Eve, and ended up in a configuration that nowadays I understand as renting in nullsec. I had all my crap in a POS. Everything I owned was in the POS. It was, but we didn't get into it. There wasn't a lot to do. It was renting, right? So we didn't last more than I think a few weeks, something like that. Went off to do other things, ride bikes. Went back to World of Warcraft, right? I ended up being pretty serious about World of Warcraft. Really dropped out of college to play semi-professionally. Paid the bills off of writing strategy guides around the heyday of that game in 2009. Before finally going and getting a real job working for my parents' accountant. And at that point, a bunch of the people that I played World of Warcraft with said, "Hey, we want to play EVE Online." I was like, "Oh, I touched that game once." And we went and played it. And at that point, it was that I realized, hey, this is not a joystick game. This is a spreadsheet game. And having done some time with World of Warcraft and with my parents' accountant, I was way better at spreadsheets. And suddenly I started to understand EVE Online. And it turned out that the people I was playing World of Warcraft with, we had a historical connection with something awful. We were playing with the Elitist Jerks forums, people I'm repping the shirt, you can see, from a long time ago. And they were all pretty serious about WoW. But because of this connection, I looked up what Goons were doing and talked to them. And we joined up with Goonswarm. Little did I know that given the timing of this, Goonswarm had just lost all of their crap. And so we ended up joining the Alliance, made a pilgrimage, no crap, through Torinos and EasyTech P8R out to Nullsec, having never done anything in our lives except me for like a week. And joined up with Goons, but they owned all of 2-star systems. It was the very beginning of Dominion. They had just lost all of their stuff in Delve. This was the failed to pay the Sov bills thing, right? And so there we are. And so we joined Goonswarm and did what they did. I was CEO and I had no idea what I was doing. Right, but it turned out I didn't need to. Goonswarm did everything for me. They took care of my people, and we took care of them. We did everything from participating in wars and running a jump freighter service to building super capitals to living in wormholes to everything there was to do in Dominion. I personally am a spreadsheet guy. I know how to F1 and that's about it. If I'm in a situation where I'm relying on myself for PvP combat, that's not a good situation for me to be in. But that's not all of EVE Online, right? So that was really fun. I ended up I'm a finance director in Goonswarm. Ended up as sort of minister of colonization. I was the person who was spreadsheeting out and deciding where all the moons were and handing them out as we conquered each successive region and went from being 2-star systems to owning Declan and then later the CFC, right, and what is now known as the Imperium, and that was our work. And I think by the end, at the big battle at BTEC R5, several other members of my corporation were also Alliance directors. A name you might know, K-Color, was actually my original business partner in a wormhole. And it was a lot of fun, but of course that ran its course. Most of the people quit. Dominion was really our era. A few people stayed around, but I was done. I won EVE probably in 2014, 2015, and was spacefired in 2015, and really did not pay a lot of attention to Eve in the ensuing 5 years. Right. It was a good career. Then the Horn of Gundor went off 5 years later, and I had kept in touch with some of my friends that they continued to play, and a few of them seriously with Goonswarm for a few years. And so when the Horn of Gundor went off, I said, should I come back? What's going on over there? And they said, actually, yes, this is the apocalypse. The war was going on. It was September, October of 2020. Pappy was at the gates of Delve, right? And I came back and did not know a thing about the game, so to speak. Everything had changed, right? But I missed all of the Citadel era, all of the Lifeblood era, with Rorquals being a big thing, and all of the ensuing changes, and came back smack in the middle of scarcity that we know and love, right? So I've been helping with the finance team. Helped us pay for a bunch of stuff very early in the war, and then the Battle of M2 TAC rolled up, and my computer melted down as soon as I undocked my Titan. And I was very sad. Of course, I'm running an ancient CPU, haven't gamed seriously in years, so I didn't get to play very long in that fight. I think I lost tether very early at a time I should not have, and had to dock back up. But I arrived the next morning to the ashes of that fight, and of course I'm on the finance team, and that is how we put together mobilization, and that's how I became probably the first person in EVE Online to replace over 100 Titans before the weekend. And that is why everyone in Goonswarm already knows who I am. So, I'm running for the CSM. All of the spreadsheet aspect of EVE Online is my jam. I know how to build stuff. I know how to look at game mechanics. Know how all of those different pieces of EVE, not care bearing specifically, but all of the stuff that supports that, and how all of these mechanical pieces fit together. I'm running also because I feel like I have a little bit of a unique perspective coming from primarily the Dominion era, right? We're coming into a time when EVE is sort of, things seem grim. People aren't happy with CCP, and I don't want to take this video and like put all the blame on them. Actually, my perspective is that as I look at all of the changes that have happened in the last 7-8 years since I really won EVE the first time, I think a lot of stuff has been lost, sometimes by changes that people thought were good at the time, right? We can go back to all of the changes that happened after Dominion, after Rorquals, into Scarcity, and then after Scarcity, and find people who thought those were good at each particular time, right? But I think in many cases, by accident, a lot of pieces of the EVE that was there have sort of gotten lost. And mechanics have been lost that were really an important part of the sandbox, and the result is ultimately that people are unhappy, and I think in some cases don't often understand why, because what is missing is not well documented. EVE's politics obviously plays into this, right? There's a lot of political drama and propaganda. I'm hoping to try and get past some of that, just because the situation is bad, right? I look at all of the forums, I look at Reddit, I can tell that people aren't happy, right? CCP can tell that people aren't happy, but I want to do something, right? I love EVE with the pure love of a nerd who loves spaceships. So that's who I am. Vote for the Imperium slate, elect us, and we're going to do our level best to make sure that EVE has a great 20th anniversary next year, and hopefully has a great life for the next 20 years after that. Thanks.